this lesson, we're going to review how to find the equation of a circle and also how to identify a couple of the important components of them. This information can be found in the preview section of your textbook. So first, to remind you what the equation looks like, we have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. The biggest thing you want to be careful about on these is since the formula has minus signs in front of the h and the k, that means that your center is going to have the signs switched on the two numbers you see there. So if I ask you for the center, make sure you flip the signs on the h and the k values for your x and y coordinates of the center here. The other important thing is make sure you actually take the square root of the number on the other side, because it's not r squared that is the radius, it's the square root of that value to get r. So here's our first example. We're going to write the center form equation of the circle, and they've told us the center is -4, -1, and the radius is 8. So I know that this is the h value, this is the k value, and you also might want to go ahead and identify that if the radius is 8, r squared is going to equal 64. Okay, so our formula, we have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Now when we actually simplify this, don't forget that subtracting a negative, the double negatives cancel out. So our formula should actually look like x plus 4 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 64. That would be the form we'd be looking for as the standard form equation. Here's another quick example I wanted to show, just because sometimes it looks weird when you don't actually have the h and the k values in there. Since both of those are 0 and our r squared value is going to be 25, what we end up writing is x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 5 squared. But you don't have to write adding or subtracting 0. It has no purpose for us. It doesn't actually affect anything. So there's no need to write plus or minus 0, nor is there any need to ever write multiplying by 1 or dividing by 1. So instead, you would just write that you have x squared plus y squared equals 25. So if you don't see numbers being added and subtracted from the x's and y's, remember that the number is there, it's just that the number is 0. For the last example, we're going to work backwards on what we were just doing. So now I'm giving you the equation, and you're going to try to identify what the center and the radius are. So in this example, our center, don't forget to change the signs on those values, because h is the number by x and k is the number by y, but you need to flip those signs, so it's actually going to be +3, +1. And then for the radius of this circle, make sure you actually take the square root of that number, 36, so the answer is just 6. The situation where you get a positive and negative answer, that's only when you're solving an equation and you take the square root of both sides as a math operation, like when you multiply both sides of an equation by 2. So when you take the square root of both sides of an equation, you get positive and negative answers. If I just ask you what is the square root of 36, you should only include the positive answer. So this one is just 6 for the radius. So now we should be able to draw this graph if we needed to as well, which we'll come back to in another lesson.